Oh no. It's this thing again. It's the DrPulley HiT clutch. I've got it out of the box again. And there's a reason for it, because I did want to give it one final chance to redeem itself. If you recall, back in one of the other videos, I did say that there was a forum member, Old Geek, that told me using stiff pillow springs would actually make it a snappier or harder launch, and more likely to do wheelies and such, which is totally the opposite of what DrPulley's instructions say, because they say no pillow springs will give it the hardest launch. That's what they say is more likely to do wheelies and such. And stiff pillow springs should soften the engagement of the clutch. So completely the opposite idea of what they say in their instructions. I didn't have a whole lot of time before the car shows. I really just wanted to get everything basically dialed in, and I wasn't worried so much about trying the DrPulley or DrPulley HiT clutch that much. But now I have more time, so I am going to give it a shot. Plus, another forum member actually told me the same thing, that he had been struggling a little bit with his HiT clutch, and then he tried stiffer pillow springs, and that changed it around to where it wanted to get the front end light all of a sudden. So it's worth a shot. And at this point, if I can't get it to work this way, I had thought about maybe trying to rig up something so I could put this clutch bell that came with the DrPulley kit, put that in my mini lathe, maybe mount my old drive shaft that I tore up or something, and use that to mount this in the lathe, and then perhaps try to knurl the inside here to give it a texture and see if that will make it really grab hard. But I don't think I want to mess with that. Honestly, if this doesn't work, my plan is pretty much to clean it up and put it on eBay or something and see if I can get some money out of it to go towards stuff that would better benefit me with the project. Because if that doesn't work, this thing, I don't think there's a whole lot of hope for it. It's really not offering me anything above my my modified stock clutch, so why would I want a $200 investment in it? Maybe I can get something out of it if I don't tear it up trying to knurl it or whatever. So I have 19 kilogram, these are yellow pillow springs. That's the stiffest thing I have. The red springs that are in here are actually 24 or 24 and a half kilogram pillow springs, but I've got them for the actual clutch engagement, so I'm not going to switch them. But I'm going to put the next stiffest thing I have in here, which is 19 kilogram pillow springs in, and just go find out if that really does change it around or not. Well, if I were going for style alone, I do like the yellow springs with the yellow on the belt and the yellow wheels, but unfortunately that's not really something I care about right now. What I wanted to say was also that I put the shims back in place in the variator on the variator drive boss, just like they were when I was running it before with the modified stock clutch. That way it's a fair comparison of the DrPulley HiT clutch again versus everything else I've tried. There, I'm just going to try taking off first, see how that goes. It takes off well. I've never had a problem with the actual quickness of it taking off too much. It's just that I don't get that engagement feeling, and it doesn't feel like it's trying to pick up off the ground. I mean, I sit on the front of the seat just in case, but it just feels like it's slipping in to me. Yeah, alright. I'll try the usual wheelie check, see if it'll do anything. Nope. Just feels like it slips in like it always does. No. I'd imagine you could tell from that video, but the DrPulley HiT clutch is going to be a no-go for me. Seems to work for other people. I personally just don't like this thing. I really want it to grab on hard, and with no springs, with stiff springs, and with kind of medium springs that were installed with it, it won't do it. And I just don't want to keep messing with it. Moving on from there, what I'd like to do is try, I'll call it a proof of concept ride. So we know the basic concept of this entire 86cc started as pretty much, can I build a hyper race engine, detune it, and then actually ride it around? Because I don't really see a lot of people taking hyper race engines and riding all over the place doing long rides. So I've kind of done that in a way at the car shows, because I've gone 3 nights to car shows, as I've uploaded videos of. You can round each night off and just say I did 100 miles per night. So that's not bad. But I live out in the country, and most of my riding is more rural riding. So I'm on open roads. And when I'm at the car shows, it's 8 or 9 miles up the strip and then back down the strip, and I basically just loop around and around and do that all night. And that's all red light to red light. I'm hard on a scooter because I take off and I do little wheelies and stuff like that, but it's red light to red light. It's not open road, you know, holding the throttle for a while or anything like that. So what I'd like to do is just take at least a 100-mile ride on more open roads, country roads, back roads, whatever. I have reinstalled the modified stock clutch, and I also took a 0.5 millimeter shim out of the front pulley, the drive balls, just to see if that helps at all with cruise RPM or speed versus the fully shimmed version of that, basically, that I've been running for strong takeoff. And I don't really think it's going to change the takeoff much at all, or maybe not any at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ride down in the swamp area, which is Cambridge, Maryland, and below Cambridge, Maryland. That's pretty much just a bunch of open roads. There's nothing around. There are a lot of turns, and it's good scenery. So speaking of nothing around, there are really no gas stations in that area. So what I've planned right now is it'll be about a 70-ish mile trip from the last time I see a gas station till I can get back to a gas station. There's one gas station down there, but it's got 87 octane gas, and so I really don't want that in the scooter anyway. But I'm not sure if I can do that because I have a 2.5 gallon tank, and I did get 40 miles per gallon when I checked at the car shows in town. But I usually do a little better with these small scooters in town mileage versus open road mileage. So I'm not sure if I can do 40 miles per gallon. And if I do, say, 30 miles per gallon, even with a 2.5 gallon tank, that's really pushing it. And like I said, I'll be in the middle of nowhere, so I don't want to push it that hard. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to ride it to the Cambridge area, maybe take it through town, and then I'll fill it up with gas. That'll give me a pretty good idea of what the gas mileage should be when it's on more open roads, and then I'll adjust based on that. So if I get, say, 40 miles per gallon, then I'm going to go ahead and do my full route. That'll be about 70 miles through the swamp. And if I get like 30 miles per gallon, that would be pushing it way more than I'm willing to, and I'll probably adjust my route. So more or less, I've just got to see what happens because I have no idea what to expect out of it. With that said, I'm going to get ready, and you'll probably see some clips of that coming up.
To me, it's like, what's cooler? Taking a Corvette like that goes, I don't even know how fast, way too fast anyway, and riding at 50 mile an hour in a 55 zone, or taking a 49cc based scooter and going out here almost a death-defying act, doing 60 on the highway. To me, no contest. This is way more fun, way more interesting. To each their own. Not saying it makes sense. It makes no sense at all. That's probably why it's fun. just went with a 27.4 miles at less than 6/10 of a gallon. So I did ride through the town a little bit before I came in, but hopefully I should be good to do this 70, 75 miles, whatever it is, until I can get back to that gas station again. One bad thing about the swamps, they are pretty regularly flooded over. And this is saltwater or brackish or something. It's not good anyway. Actually pretty deep. Got a current going in here. Oh yeah. Deer's gonna ram me off the scooter. Well, I just got gas a few minutes ago, and it was 69.0 miles from when I got gas last, and I used less than 1.5 gallons. I'll put the exact mile per gallon up here. Sad to get off of this highway. This thing feels like it's going to shake itself apart when you're doing 60, 65, which when you're surrounded by traffic is not the most fun thing.
That actually went quite a bit better than I expected it to, especially the gas mileage. I really didn't think this thing was going to be anywhere near approaching 50 miles per gallon. I kind of thought it would get 30s and I'd probably have to change my route, so I was really happy that I could take the full route that I had planned. And I just didn't think the large exhaust ports that this Hyper Race kit have would be efficient enough that I could get 47 miles per gallon with cruising anywhere from 40 to in the 60s. So again, really pleased with that part of it. No trouble riding it around. I can keep the throttle basically wherever I want it. I've got a little, I guess you could say, trouble spot near full throttle that could probably use some fine tuning. Honestly, don't know if I'll really mess with that right now because the weather is getting colder and colder. And I think if I got it right, then it would probably change again when the weather changes. But I don't see any reason why this couldn't be ridden around wherever I please, the way it's set up. I kind of have a feeling that will all change if it is in actual Hyper Race mode. I think it's going to be so much more high-strung and harder to ride. But at least kind of detuned as it is now, it works pretty well. Really my main concern is if these cylinders can last very many miles, because I've seen on, I think, YouTube and just other places online when I'd searched for the TPR 86cc stuff before I started, info saying that their kit lasted like 1,200 kilometers and 1,500 kilometers, so I kind of figured like I might be at least putting new ring and piston in at 1,000 miles, hopefully not replacing the entire cylinder, because if I have to replace the entire cylinder every 1,000 miles, this thing won't get much actual riding. Because especially when you ride something like 100 miles a day, 10 days of riding for an entire cylinder kit is kind of ridiculous. Which it is a Hyper Race, that's sort of the idea. I get it, but that's one of those things that time will tell, I suppose. I'll just have to check it a little later and see what the cylinder and piston and ring actually look like. But if all that turns out okay, this is a surprisingly good little setup for just cruising around. Couldn't be much happier with it in that respect.